This is a new one to me. This is a Strandberg. It's made in Sweden. This particular guitar is a 7-string. And I think this model, they said, hasn't been made for at least 10 years, but apparently they're still in business. And it was brought to me for a couple of problems. Both of them involving the headless end of the guitar. The strings are held on with these bolts and little wedge-shaped pieces of metal, and one of them was slipping. One of the strings, I think it was the G string, was slipping. So I didn't see any visible wear when I took out the bolt and examined what they call a washer underneath of it. But what I did to fix the slippage was just swapped out one of the fittings on one of the fatter strings with this string, and that took care of the problem. The reason I wanted to make this video is to talk about the nut and how I got around the other problem. The other problem the owner of the guitar was having was he was getting an open string buzz on the D, and the only way to fix that would be to raise the nut. So these little metal pieces function as the nut on the guitar. There's a separate one for each string, and you can't see it, but right in front of this nut is a little hex fitting that locks it in place. And I emailed the company and asked what size that is, because it's smaller than any hex wrench that I own. And the person who responded didn't really know. He was guessing maybe 0.9 millimeters. But he said, we haven't used that system in at least 10 years, and we didn't keep very good records. So I didn't have a hex fitting or a hex wrench that small. So I, of course, hopped on the internet and looked for tiny hex wrenches, and found some that were 0.9 millimeters and 0.7 millimeters. And being the smart shopper that I am, I saw I could buy one 0.9 millimeter wrench, take a chance that it was the right size. It cost me like $6, or I could buy whatever that is, 36 wrenches for $8. So I went with the value pack, and after some trial and error, I did discover that it was indeed a 0.9 millimeter hex fitting. It was a little hard to figure out because the screws don't go straight up and down. They're at about a, 30-degree angle. So if I didn't have the wrench exactly at the right angle, I couldn't get anything to turn. But what I did then was loosen this fitting, a couple of whole turns, and then I discovered it wouldn't pull straight out like with pliers or forceps or anything. Turns out that this nut fitting is threaded. So I gave it a half a turn counterclockwise to raise the action whatever half of a thread distance is on this, and then tighten the screw back up, and everything's good as new. I'm going to put this back into the position I had it in before I started the camera, because I know that's exactly right. Now I'll tighten this back up. Boy, it's easy to bend these tiny wrenches. And now I can tune that string back up. And when I check the height now, the way I do it on all guitars, I push between the second and third fret, and I look at the string clearance of the first fret, and it's just, well, a little less than 0.9 millimeters. Anyway, it just, that's all it takes. There will be no more open string buzz. And I just thought if anybody else out there ever runs across an old Strandberg guitar, they might want to know what size that fitting is. 0.9 millimeters. So that's it. That's all I've got on this. Thanks for watching.